Kimberly.
That would be me.
And Frank Spillers. And they're going to make us feel really good about the day. Okay?
Woo! Yay! Feel good about today.
Really good about the day. Kim came up to me a little while ago and she goes, "You realize you're the only male speaker today, right?" I said, "Yeah, we don't have to stand in line for the bathroom." Oops. All right, everyone, on your feet. Up, 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 up. Well, that woke you up, didn't it? Yeah. Yay. See, Kathy, I did need the chair. Thank you for leaving it here. Okay, now we're going to do the Wonder Woman pose. Some of you have it over there, but you're standing. All right, Wonder Woman pose, right? Just like this. All right, this is brain development. This is your lesson for the day. This is brain development, and this 2 minutes a day. If you do this with your class, this helps your students. This helps you with self-confidence. This is scientifically researched that it does restructure your brain like this. But what we're also going to do, we're going to say some affirmations. Ready? So I want you to say at the top of your lungs after me. You ready? I'm a winner.
I'm a winner.
I'm a champion.
I'm a champion.
I love myself.
I love myself.
I'm cute.
I'm cute.
I like myself.
I like myself.
I'm wonderful.
I'm wonderful.
I'm awesome.
I'm awesome.
I love kids.
I love kids.
Most days. Thank you. Now, that is a scientific research of this is a power pose. We do this. We're not going to go into this a lot. This is going to be a really fast session. But because we have this is kind of like condensed from a 6-hour training that we do. Sometimes we're early care and education providers around the country. So this is Amy Cuddy, C-U-D-D-Y. If you like TED Talks, Amy Cuddy on TED Talks. We'll talk about power posing and how it does and restructures your mind to give you self-confidence, and also because it increases your testosterone hormone and decreases your cortisol hormone. It's a weight loss program. All right, because cortisol ends up right here, and it's your stress hormone. How many of you are stressed? Why? Money. Money, okay. Because we're thinking ahead, right? What if, what if, what if? How many of you go, what if, all the time? What if, what if? All right, what we're going to be talking about is the act of mindfulness, and mindfulness is concentrating. Mindfulness is concentrating on the here and the now. If you're right here, right now, this is the only time that matters. Because 5 minutes ago has passed. Can you do anything about 5 minutes ago? No, you can't. Can you do anything about 5 minutes from now?
Yes.
No, you can't, right? You don't know what's going to be happening. You can be prepared, and that's what this session is all about. How do you prepare yourself for what's going to be happening in 5 minutes? How many of you think the world happens to you or you happen to the world? Does life happen for you or do you happen life? Okay, because the choice is yours. You can either have life happen for you, all right, I get what I get, or I control what I get. It's up to you. It's a choice. It's a choice. How many of you love kids? Passionate for kids. All right, I say this all the time in the start of my talks. If you're not passionate for kids and you're in this business, if you're not passionate for kids and if you're in this business, please leave and get out of the business. Because what you're doing, if you're not passionate for kids, you are creating an environment for kids that is detrimental to their health. I know that's really harsh because I'm a motivational speaker. And there's not that much motivation in that statement because it's pretty negative. Except I understand how important your job is and what you are doing in the relationship and the development of human beings. And if you don't understand how important your job is, you need to reflect a little bit more on what you do. Because you guys are awesome. You guys, yeah, give yourself, I can cheer, yay. Because here's the thing, we work a lot in economic development, we work with communities a lot. And if it wasn't for you, parents couldn't work. Parents could not work if it wasn't for you. They could not provide for their family if it wasn't for you. If it wasn't for you and the quality care that you provide, businesses could not be as productive with their workforce. Because parents cannot come to work and concentrate on the job they need to do for their employer if they're worried about who's taking care of their kids. So you have to understand that. The critical role that you're playing in this economy, in this world, and the critical role that you're playing in the life of children. How many of you take care of kids longer than their parents take care of them? Yep. Look around the room. Look at the majority of you taking care of the majority of the time in kids. Now, tell me your job's not important. Except what you were pretty stressed out, right? So everything today has all been about how do you provide and have fun with the kids and play outside and everything that I've listened to anyway. This session is for you. It's for the kids as a benefit, but if you get straight, the kids are going to get straight. So this session is for you, because this is the way the United States looks right now. This is the state of our country. 40% of Americans say they lie awake at night because of stress. How many of you laid awake last night thinking about something? Couldn't get to sleep. All right, so then, as I drove down here from Waterloo, we live in Atlantic, Iowa, but our daughter and son-in-law live in Waterloo, so we're staying there. So as I drove down from Waterloo, right, we're driving down, 40% of you on the road with me were sleep deprived. Yay, oh boy. Okay. 70% of Americans are stressed out about work. $300 billion cost to American businesses because of stress-related illnesses. $300 billion every year. Every year. Every year, $300 billion. What would you do with $300 billion? Yeah, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be listening to you. 76% of boomers, my age, boomers, we're still young, 76% of boomers are worried about money. I'm worried about money, the money that I didn't have. You know, I'm still working on my second $1 million because my first million hasn't worked out before, so I'm, no, all right, okay, there we go. 52% of Americans are worried about their health. So here is the big find for today that I want to tell you about, that we're going to go over. Environment is more important than heredity. The environment that you set, the environment that you create because of your thought processes, because of who you are, because of what you do, the environment that you set, the environment you create around you, is more important than the heredity that you bring to the table or your kids bring to you. Because the environment forms a child and forms you more than heredity forms you. And we're going to go over that. So, anyone know what this is? This word right here is a hint. It's a seed, right? It's a seed. What kind of seed? Mustard seed? You don't know what kind of seed it is, right? Because I haven't shown you the package. But is there something in that seed? There's potential in that seed. But you don't know what's in the seed. because you haven't had the right environment set yet. Right? So we've been over here with this what's called a tower garden, indoor growing, indoor produce. Right? We're going to talk just a little bit about that, but it's more about what's in the seed and creating the environment that seed will bloom with the potential it has in it. And I'm going to equate that to children coming to you, or even you having the potential in you if you have the right environment. So here's the environment. This is a tower garden coming out of a box. Now a tower garden looks like this, okay? It's indoor growth, indoor environment. We're creating the environment. So first of all, you have to find the environment you need to create. What kind of environment is going to help the potential grow the most? And so then you have to assemble and look at the parts of the environment. And then you have to get some really good looking dude to come and assemble the tower garden for you, or put the environment together. And then it starts to form. That environment starts to form and starts to have shape. And then you put more of the environment together and you put lights on it, electricity, because plants need lights. You need to figure out, what does the environment need to have for my seed to grow? What type of potential is that in there? So if I have an orange and I squeeze the orange, does grape juice come out? No. What would come out? If I squeezed that orange, what would come out? Because why? It's an orange. That's what's inside there, right? If I squeezed you, what would come out? Sometimes I don't even want to know your thoughts. All right, so if we have the right environment, and if we have the right environment, this was in my office. We have a home office. So this was in my office a couple of months ago. I didn't have the correct environment. We didn't have the correct environment around our tower garden with the seeds. So look at how the plants, that's about 3 months worth of growth. It's pretty sick. Then I put the right environment around it, and we put lights on it. Moved it. And within 3 weeks, it changed, because we had the right environment for the seeds to grow. So what kind of seeds were they? Bib lettuce. That's the seeds that we were growing. What does bib lettuce look like? That's the potential. I just lost all my batteries. Get a charge out of that. Okay, there we go. All right. I'll just keep them coming. Please don't. So if you have the seeds of bib lettuce and you provide the right environment for bib lettuce to grow, it looks like this. All right? So the right environment needs to have the seed has to have the right environment. And so how do you create your environment? What do you think about? What do you do? How are you looking at it? And so today what we're going to be doing is called the DeLuca 10. The DeLuca 10. And I'm going to explain what DeLuca is later. So we're going to have the DeLuca 10. Number 1, and you have this in your handout, by the way. Number 1 of the DeLuca 10. It's in your folder. Number 1 of the DeLuca 10, you can't give away what you don't have. If you don't have love in you, you can't give away love. If you have hate in you, you're going to give away hate. You can't give away what you don't have. All things in your life, you have to take care of yourself because of the potential that you have if you don't have the right environment, that potential cannot come out. So what you don't have within you, you have to start creating. You have to get the environment for that to start to come out. Because all that you have, all that you are, is what you have been taught to be. You have been taught to be who you are. You have been taught to think what you think. Now you've been talking about playing outside, and kids learn by what? Through what? Their senses, their 5 senses, right? That's how you're still learning. You absorb the environment through your 5 senses. By what you see, feel, hear, taste, and smell. Your 5 senses are coming at you in the environment. The environment is this room that you're in right now. So you are experiencing the environment that you're in right now and feeling the environment that you're in right now. Right? And everything that is coming at you in this environment, you are putting it through a filter that you have been taught to put it through. So many things that I'm going to tell you today, or some things that I'm going to tell you today, because of your filter and what you have been taught, you're going to say, yes, that's true, no, that's not true. Yes, I believe that, no, I don't believe that, because of your filter. Right? But everything I am telling you today, I believe to be true. Because one, I studied it, the other one is that I have experienced it. But I believe it to be true. Now what happens as we start to grow up, because kids start to learn in your 3rd trimester. Maybe not yours, but theirs. Sorry, Kevin. Yeah. Okay, so the kids start, and their neurons start to form in the 3rd trimester. So they are starting to learn of their environment even before they're out in the world. They are starting to learn. We're going to get more into that. But then also, kids start to hear these voices. You're no good. You can't do that. Our family has never experienced that before. We live in the wrong part of town. You'll never be able to be an astronaut. We don't have the family name. We can't do that. We've never done that before. And you have these things starting to tick around in your head already as your filtering mechanism. And so these inputs that you have had have started to train and teach yourself of how you view the world and set your environment. And this creates your environment. And now you have to worry about and understand what words do you use in your environment. And what do you tell yourself? Every experience that you have ever had has a memory to it. And that memory gets caught in the place in your brain called the amygdala. This walnut-sized portion of your brain right there. That's your emotional fight or flight part of your brain. So anything that's happened to you has an emotion. It has an emotion with it. It can either be a good emotion or a bad emotion. So when you relive that emotion, your body reflects the emotion. And so if you have fear, or if you have anticipation, or hesitation, or something, scared, it can be of a past event in that memory. That memory of the emotion is still there, and every time you think of that event, the memory of the emotion comes back, and your body responds the same way. This is how you get chronic illnesses. Anyone heard of the ACEs test? ACEs?
Adverse Childhood Experiences Survey.
Thank you. I always want to say adolescent, but I know that's not right. Adverse Childhood Experiences Survey. 26,000 people were surveyed back in the mid 80s. Okay, and what they found out is that if a child under the age of 18 experienced one of 10 things in their life, such as divorce, such as sexual misconduct, such as drinking, alcoholism, drug abuse, anything, okay? There's 10 of them. and look this up, there's 10 of them. If they hit 3 or more of those 10, they were 30 to 35% more likely to get a chronic illness in their adult phase of life. Chronic illness. That increases. So that's where your emotion sticks in there, and it creates the reflex of your body to have that, okay? And so what we do is we have a stress reduction technique called tapping, emotional freedom technique. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to teach you that. If you want to know more about it, get a hold of us and we can show that to you. But it's really easy. It's really fun. We use it for clients that we have with PTSD. We use it on kids for test anxiety. We do it as our stress reduction techniques there too. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, live the DeLuca way. DeLuca stands to welcome, understand, comfort, and appreciate yourself and others. Right? And it's a book that we wrote. It's a curriculum that we wrote. Van over here, my assistant. I'm her assistant actually. Right? Has that on there. Okay, but we say live the DeLuca way. Create an environment to where words matter. You understand what's going on. You understand the other person. You are comfortable within your skin and you express gratitude. So welcome is all about your attitude. How many of you are happy? How many of you chose not to be happy today? Okay, yeah, one back here yawning going, I did. Didn't think I saw you, did you? But happiness is a choice. Okay? You can either choose to be happy or you can choose to be a crap magnet. Crap magnet, because crap attracts crap. Crap magnet. Crap attracts crap. If you exude and throw out crap and put crap in the environment, that's what the environment's going to feed back to you. Have you ever walked? Okay, how many of you are employees? Work for somebody? All right. Have you ever walked in and that one employee that you don't want to see that day is there?
Don't turn and look at him.
Turn to the person you work with and say, no, it's not you. I encourage you to apologize if they're driving too. You know? It'll be a long walk home for you. Welcome, all about a positive attitude. You can choose your attitude and you can choose your words. All right, the you is understand. Do you actively listen or do you wait to talk? Do you actively listen or just wait to talk? Right? You know people just waiting to talk because you're having a conversation with them and the other person is going, you know, and they're just ready to jump in there with their opinion. Now, if you would all of a sudden change the subject on them, and they're lost, right? So that's a good trick. They're pretty much lost. That's understand. The C is comfort. Are you comfortable in your own skin? Do you know your purpose? Do you have a passion? Are you living your passion? Do you have a vision for the future? In other words, do you have a picture of the future you wish to create? Those of you, when we work with, this is great, when we work with early care and education providers, I always ask the class, I say, how many of you have that one set of parent, you see them coming down the sidewalk and you go, oh, they're here. What I encourage you to do is go ahead and write a vision of your perfect parent. Who is your perfect parent? What do they look like? What do they sound like?
How do they behave?
Right? And as you write that, this is what you do, is you write that and get together as a center staff. And you write that and then hang it up at the front door. Now you laugh at this, but there is a psychological reason to do this, is because once a parent reads that, our parents are, and then you write down your perfect vision of a parent, and you title it, Our Parents Are, they start to read that, and they go, oh, is that me? Is that me? And then they start to evaluate how they act. And then as they read that all the time, their brain starts to change, and their actions start to change. You can create your perfect parent by writing the paragraph. Think about that. Don't think about it, do it. Okay, because well, no, we do that at the end. Okay, comfort. So, purpose, passion, vision, and goals. Do you have goals to get to where you want to go on your vision? Smart goals. Smart goals. Okay? We're not going to get into that because that's a whole another day.
6-hour training.
So that's comfort. And then A is appreciate. Do you express gratitude for who you are and for who everybody else is? Gratitude is something that draws appreciation towards you. The more you appreciate about your day, the better your day gets. You should wake up in the morning and go, thank you for whatever it is. Thank you for this day, not, oh, it's going to be one of those days. Because if that is your environment when you first wake up, your day's going to start here and end down here. What we want your day to do is start here and go up to here. That's what you want your day to do. And that's the environment that you want to have set. And that's what appreciation does. So you turn to that worker that you just on, and turn to them and say, I appreciate who you are. And don't say it with gritted teeth. Because as we start to do this, this is what happens. You start to rewire your brain. Your brain has a plasticity to it.
Give power to the positive.
Power to the positive and kick the negative to the door. But your brain has a plasticity to it to where its neurons, as they have been connected, its neurons, you can unplug the bad stuff and plug in the good stuff. That's how we've been made. Unplug the bad stuff, plug in the good stuff. Because everything in a neuron right here, that's electricity. You have enough electricity going through you right now to power a small city. That's energy. That's the energy word. That goes out into the environment. That creates the environment. That's why what you send out comes back at you. That's why when a child comes towards you and you have a negative environment about you, that child knows it. So we have to create that environment to where that child wants to be around you. We have to create the environment where you work to where the workers want to be around you. Because workers leave people, they don't leave companies. Number 3, as you think, you become. As you think, you become. Words are very, very powerful. We have that voice going into our head. Oh, I can't do that. I'm no good. Nobody likes me. We have all that stuff going in there. And what happens to us when that happens? Let me show you. Kevin, can I borrow you for a minute, please?
Come on, Kevin. Yay!
Yeah. We spend a lifetime building people up, right? You can do this. You're wonderful. And as we do that with little kids, we do that. But then we get to adults, and what happens? Or we get into high school or middle school. Need I say more? All right. Your shoulder's okay. You told me earlier you work out. He said sometimes. Okay, so what I want you to do is face me and hold your arms out just like this. And just like that. Get a good stance because I'm going to push down and you're going to resist me.
Okay.
All right? With all your might.
All my mind.
All your might.
Okay.
Here we go. You ready?
Yes.
Yeah, you do work out. Okay. Oh, man. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is shut your eyes and say everything that I say out loud. Okay? Trust me, I used to work for the government. Are you ready?
Shoot.
I'm no good.
I'm no good.
I don't like myself.
I don't like myself.
Nobody likes me.
Nobody likes me.
I'm not a good person.
I am not a good person.
I really have a stupid unicorn horn on my head today.
I earned that unicorn head.
Yeah.
It was so stupid.
Boy, I really felt dumb.
I felt dumb.
That stupid thing.
That stupid thing.
Nobody likes me.
Nobody likes me.
I just don't like myself.
I just don't like myself.
Okay, turn towards me. Hold your arms out. You ready? Okay, you can open your eyes, by the way. Okay. Here we go. You ready? Ready? Okay. Come on. Where'd you go? Here we go. Ready? Okay. Your words affect your body. Your words go through your mind. Everyone, point to your mind. Where's your mind? That's your brain. Where's your mind? Your mind is your brain at work. Right? So as you think about what happens, it really goes down into the cells, into your muscle. This is called applied kinesiology.
Stay there. You'll fix
Oh, yeah, I'll fix you. Come here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't let anybody go home broken. Okay. Okay, and so it affects, it comes through our environment, goes into our mind, and then goes down to our cells. And it affects our energy. That stuff that's igniting within your brain, that's your energy. And it affects that, and it goes into your cells and affects your hormones. It actually affects your muscles. This is called muscle testing. You can do it with anything. All right, ready? Close your eyes. I like myself.
I like myself.
I'm a good guy.
I'm a good guy.
I'm a winner.
I'm a winner.
I'm a lover.
I'm a lover.
I'm cute.
I'm cute.
I'm cute.
I'm cute.
I like myself.
I like myself.
I'm a good person.
I'm a good person.
I'm a great person.
Great person.
I'm a wonderful person.
I'm a wonderful person.
I like myself.
I like myself.
They like me.
They like me.
All right, open your eyes. Here we go. You ready? Here we go.
Yes.
Good job. Thanks. Thank you. Oh, water choke. Okay. I'm not going to do that in the microphone. So the number one factor in success is self-esteem. And self-esteem is by the words that you use as we build ourselves up. We can make ourselves healthy, we can either make ourselves, or we can make ourselves sick. All right? So, number 4, don't look for reasons to be offended. Many times we walk around and we look for what's going to offend us. I don't like blue. I'm so offended you wore blue. I actually had a person in a class say that to me. She couldn't concentrate in that class because I wore a blue shirt. I had one shirt also that had 2 buttons on it like this. One button wasn't buttoned. I missed it that morning. One button was, and that's all she focused on that whole day. I didn't find out about it until later on in the day. She goes, I don't know if I heard anything that your button's unbuttoned. And she kept looking at it. And I said, is my zipper up? I mean, that's I could speak in front of thousands of people. I don't have a fear of speaking, but what I do have a fear of is speaking in front of 1,000 people with my zipper down. I mean, that's it. I have nightmares about that sometimes. Hey, but we walk around and we look to be offended by some people because of what they do say or just who they are. And we're offended by them. Think about our political climate these days. Yeah. Okay. And so you look at that and somebody puts that label on them. If I say, and I stood up here and say, I'm a conservative Republican.
Yay. Nice knowing you.
See, there's
See,
two
I mean, what,
responses.
and you, if I, am I or not? I don't know. They'll never know. Okay, but what does that now picture look like for me? And what all of a sudden did your head tell you? It's the assumption. You judged. You judge. We look around and how can we judge people? We look around in communities, this is if a person is successful, we look at them and we say, how'd you become so successful? I'm sure you cheated the system. And what we do is we look at people that are successful and we want to grab them and pull them down to our level because we judge them. Don't walk around looking to be offended. Number 5, stop finding excuses. Don't make excuses. Own your responsibility. Okay? If we believe that things that have happened in the past have control over our future, we are destined to fail. You are not your past. The past has happened. You have to move forward. You have to move forward and look in front of you. Okay? And so if you are in a boat and you're going across the lake, what does the boat make behind you? A wake. Right? Can you do anything about the wake? Is the wake pushing the boat? What's moving the boat? The engine. Right? There is an energy that's moving that boat forward. But the wake is the past. You can't do anything about it. The wake has nothing to do with the direction you're moving. It's where you steer the boat. It's how you use the energy in that boat to move forward. So you can't focus on the back. This is why we have such a small rear view mirror in our car, but a very large windshield in front of us. Because it's more important to see where we're going than where we've been. Right? So you will always be equal to how you think, feel, and act. And you have to start changing that. This is why words matter. This is how we build ourselves up. This is how we start then to create those positive affirmations. I am statements. I am statements are the most powerful words you can use. I am statements. And so what I want you to do is on our website, and you have our website, you can go to our website, and on our front page of our website, DeLuca.com, you can scroll down a little bit and you'll find a blue, oh, I left it over at the table, that's okay. You'll find a blue PDF download you can do. It's called Mirror Affirmations. Mirror affirmations are things you want to tape up on your mirror, and in the morning wake up and say the mirror affirmations, and at night before you go to bed, say the mirror affirmations. Because it's the I am statements. They're powerful. And do them, anyone have kids at home, do them with your kids. Tape them up. Tape them up and let everybody read those. Number 6, change the way you look at things. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Okay? Your perspective comes from within. Your perspective is something somebody taught you. Because your perspective, it changes when you look at it from somebody else's perspective. And that's kind of sometimes what happens with us is when we are in an argument or we disagree with somebody, their perspective is different than ours. So we have to change. How are you looking at this? The questions we ask. This is, do you really seek to listen and understand where a person has come from? Because you don't know. And so I'm going to show you this Roman numeral. Here's a Roman numeral for 9. Roman numeral 9. Using a Roman numeral 9 that I've just showed you here with the Roman numeral 9, and if I gave somebody a marker, and it could be the scented marker she used. If I gave you a marker and using this Roman numeral as a Roman numeral 9, taking a marker, using one line without raising the marker off the paper, take that Roman numeral 9 and turn it into a 6. Could you do it? Turn the Roman numeral 9 into a 6. Did you? Okay. How many of you can do it? How'd you do it? Okay, so what happens here, that instant response was what's called a paradigm shift. I shifted the way that you looked at it. But first, I taught you how to look at it. So I told you this was a Roman numeral 9. If I would have said, okay, here's a 9 and X. using one line on an I and an X, make a 6 using an I and an X. That would have been pretty simple, right? But I said it's a Roman numeral, so you were actually stuck. But once you could get out of your own way and see it differently, you knew how to look at it. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Number 7, be responsible for your actions. Don't find excuses. Don't make excuses. It wasn't somebody else's fault. Nobody made you do anything. Nobody made you feel anything. Did you know you can't make anybody feel any way? How many of you have ever looked at somebody and said, "Oh, you make me so mad"? They can't. You allow it. You allow them, and you allow your feelings to do that. How many of you have somebody that can push your buttons? Right?
Hey, somebody else, not
That's
him.
right. Those of you that have somebody that can push their buttons, congratulations, you are a trainer. Because you have trained them on how to do it. You have trained them how to do that. Because they love your reaction. And they know the reaction you're going to do. So you have the ability to respond in any way. It's your responsibility. You have the ability to respond in any way. So I'm going to give you a formula. C plus A equals R. C plus A equals R. Your circumstances plus your actions equal your results. So if you want different results, you need different actions. If you want different circumstances, you need different actions. And this is where visioning comes in. If you want a different outcome, you have to envision the different outcome. And then go back and then say, if I want this outcome, what actions do I have to take? So everything that you've learned today is not going to do you a bit of good if you don't use what you've learned. You can come to these things, how many of you, okay, how many of you, and be honest, how many of you are here just for the hour? Thank you for being honest, okay. The other half of you are not honest. No, I'm just kidding. Because, and hopefully you're here for the hours, but something caught your attention. Because you'll always learn something. You'll always learn something. Because kids come to you and they say, go ahead, teach me. Right? And then they dare you to teach. And you came in here today just for the hours, and every speaker got in front of you and you were saying, I dare you. I dare you to teach me something. Well, we hope we did. We hope we did. Because you gave your time for something today. And it would be just a shame if you came in here and your responsibility and the way that you reacted and the way you acted here is just time and not absorbing the information. Because you gave up 8 hours, if not more. Circumstances plus actions equal your results. How do you drive your car? Number 8, intend to reach your goals. How many of you set New Year's resolutions? How many of you are still on them? 1, good. 2, way to go. All right. You know, 93% of New Year's resolutions are done by the 18th of January. 93% of them. We don't even set them anymore because we know we're not going to follow through with them. So if you're going to do a goal, you have to intend to reach it. Intention. Intend to do it. You intended to come here today, is that correct? You had it on your calendar. When the day came, you knew what you were going to do. I am going to go to Hiawatha. I am going to go to the Kirkwood Center. I am going to go into room 900. I am going to sit there all day, and somebody, hopefully, is going to teach me something new. That was intention. You set your intention. It was your goal to do that today. Do you do that all the time? So as you have your vision, part of your action is your results. You back up. Here's my steps I have to get to my vision, is your actions. And you have to write those down. Write them down, hang them up on your wall, and look at them every day. Hang them up on, here's a SMART goal. It's September 25th of 2020. September 25th of 2020. I'm at my house. It's 5 o'clock in the evening, and I am jumping on the scale, and I'm at my ideal weight of 175. That's a goal. Right? You know where I'm at. You know when it's done, the time frame. You know the exact goal of it, so I know my results. And it's in a positive form, and it's as if I have already achieved it. Those are the main points of the goal, of what you want to do. You write those down, you believe it to be true, and then your body and your mind starts working towards that. It's the environment that you set, that you create to get your goals. Right? Number 9, develop a growth mindset. How many of you have ever told a child they are smart? Never, ever, ever, never, 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 ever. Never, ever, ever again. Never, never, never. Kind of getting the thing here? Never do that. Never tell a child they are smart. Because they will identify with smartness. And when they fail because they weren't smart. You praise the effort. Praise the effort. So when you're talking to a child, when you're talking to anybody, and you're talking to yourself, what did you do today that made you think hard? Oh, I went to this session and this guy, I don't know where he came from, but this guy, he hurt my head today. He made me think. What can you learn from this? When you fail, how many of you have failed? How many of you were taught in school how to fail? So why aren't we teaching people it's okay to fail? Because that's where success comes from. Failure comes from, or success comes from failure. If you want to be successful, you have to fail. In Silicon Valley, they will look at somebody that has lost about $300 to $500 million more than they would look at somebody that has a brand new idea that hasn't even tried anything. Because that person has failed and they know that the person is just right around the corner from success. We have to start teaching kids how to fail. We have to start teaching in schools that it's okay to fail. I got an F in school and I hid my paper. What I should have done is say, yay, I know how to do it now. Right? But what we do is say, you failed. And then we turn to somebody and say, I got an A, what'd you get? F. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, so we have to start teaching people it's okay to fail. And how do we do that? And these questions is, what will you do to improve your work? It's the effort. People with a growth mindset focus on the effort. They don't focus on the result. And we see this in sports all the time. When you see someone throwing a bat, I can't do this. If you're working with a child and they get frustrated by doing something, they throw it and they say, I quit, I can't do it. That's a fixed mindset. What you want to do is help them get a growth mindset and say, look, we're still doing that. The most important word that you can use with a child, or even with yourself, is I can't do this yet. The most important word you can use is yet. I'm not ready to do this yet. Because that means you're ongoing and you're growing your brain. All right? Or what will you do to solve this problem? Develop growth mindsets. Number 10, let it go and forgive. How many of you have somebody to forgive in your life? Why are you holding on to it? They're controlling you. They have put a label on you, and they have labeled you, and you have labeled them. And labels are nothing more than something that we have to wear. It creates the environment of who we are, because then we start living up to labels. I'm a failure. I'm no good. I don't like myself. I don't come from the right family. I don't earn enough. I could never do that. That's labels that we wear because somebody gave us that label. So those labels, you accept it. You don't have to accept any labels from anybody. Okay? They're not the boss of you. That's all you have to do is, you're not the boss of me. You ever heard that? My kids used to do that. You're not the boss of me. Well, yes, I am. Okay? So who do you need to forgive? A person you love and respect? A person who has done you wrong? Or do you need to forgive yourself? Many times we have labeled ourselves by what we have done in the past, and we can't forgive our actions. And that's one of the most important things you can do to move ahead. So I'm going to give you 10 things to move distress. This is in your handouts also. Learn the art of emotional freedom technique, or tapping. I talked a little bit more about that. That is acupressure on some points, and it is called energy psychology. And you start to tap through portions on your body as you think about what has happened to you and the emotions that you're carrying around. And what this does is it releases the emotions out of the amygdala and helps your logical mind take forward. Because when your emotions take over, your frontal lobe of your brain, the executive function of your brain, shuts down. This is why when trauma happens, or PTSD, a person with PTSD, they go back to their trauma in the emotion there, and they're not logically thinking right here. And what happens is your amygdala takes over in your fight or flight, and your logical mind cannot do that. And so what tapping does is help get rid of those emotions to where your logical mind can take over and your body can heal itself. Because your body has to manifest pain, manifest stress in some way. This is why in stress your shoulders hurt. You've heard the say, I wear stress on my shoulders. This is where if you release that emotion and you release that, your shoulders will relax and it will go out. Okay? Number 2, do not judge anything or anyone. No judgment. Okay? Just wake up in the morning and say, thank you, no judgment today. Number 3, every night before you go to sleep, say out loud what you loved about the day. Not, oh, I had to go to this training, and all I got was 6 lousy hours. Right? It's what you love about today. Because you can find something good about everything that you do. You have to look for it sometimes, all right? You have to look for the good. But once you start looking for the good, you're going to find it. Have you ever wanted a red car? And you bought a red you bought a red car, and you bought a red car because nobody else had a red car. And then you bought a red car, and you found out everybody has a red car. Okay? It's because you will look for and you will find what you expect. So when we start out our workshops, we go around the room and we ask every individual, what do you expect out of the day? And we write that down. Because what you come into the room expecting, if you don't voice that, you're not going to start looking for it. And then you will start looking for it and you'll find it. And we've never had anybody walk up to us at the end of a workshop say, I didn't find what I expected. Right? We've always met expectations, but it's nothing we did, it's what you guys did. All right. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. List all you did, not mistakes. Oh, right. Read every word. Okay. List everything you did right. Don't list your mistakes. Right? Because we'll reevaluate the day and we'll go, oh, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. But what if you sat down and said, I did this right, I did this right, I did this right? Your day goes a lot better. Choose to live in a friendly universe and be thankful for everything in your life. You have a choice every day. Do you live in a friendly or a hostile universe? The choice is yours. Is everybody out to get you, or is everybody for you? The choice is yours. How you choose. Look in the mirror every day and look at yourself in the eyes and say the I am statements. All the I am statements. I am wonderful. I am deserving. I am awesome. I am enough. I am love. I am statements because you're telling yourself who you are. You're telling yourself what you are. I am statements, the most powerful ones you can do. Replace apathy and pity with passion, purpose, vision, and goals. Instead of saying, oh, poor me, say, this is what I want, and I'm going after it. You're the only one that can get what you want. You're the only one that can do it. Don't play the victim. You have the ability to respond in every circumstance. Many times we have the victim mentality of saying, oh, I grew up in the wrong household. Or I didn't learn that. Or I didn't have a chance to go to school. Or I didn't have this, I didn't have that. Look at me, poor me. Or I was an abused person. Oh, poor me. Yes, you were a victim at one point in time, but you can't play the victim card every time. I was in an abusive situation. I was abused as a partner. I was kicked down the stairs. I was locked in a cubby, and I was brought up. I couldn't hit a woman, so I didn't fight back. So I'm not playing the victim mentality. What I'm doing is teaching how to get great relationships. I'm using what happened to me to better my world, to better my environment. What are you doing? You can't play the victim card. Surround yourself with positive, uplifting people and winners. Sometimes we have to purge our friends, right? Have you ever purged your Facebook friends? Try that sometime. Read a Facebook post and judge your feelings. What's your emotions from that Facebook post? If your emotions come up really, if you're seeing red on it, get rid of them, unfriend them. They're not good energy for you. Right? And then look back on your Facebook post. How do you post? Are you good energy or bad energy for the people that you respond to? Celebrate your greatness and appreciate your self-worth. All right? As you celebrate your greatness and appreciate your self-worth, everybody is worth something. So you create new habits. When you learn something new, you start to practice it, you act it, and then you teach it to others. So what I want you to do is go back what you learned today and act differently. You act differently. And then teach it to others. And I tell you what, back in 2008, if I didn't decide to learn and act what I teach, we wouldn't be married. I had to change how I acted. I had to change what I did, my whole thought process, in order to change my environment to keep the relationship that I wanted. Because it's all about relationships. Our lives are all about relationships. But it starts with us, because nothing out here will change until it changes in here first. We can't change anybody out here. We can only change ourselves. But if we change ourselves by learning things new, and if we change ourselves by acting differently, out here does change. Try it. Give it a 30-day trial period. Change your environment. Change how you view yourself. Change how you talk to yourself. Change that environment, and you will see what happens out here. Because when you learn something, you act it, and then teach it to others. And that's what we're doing, is we're teaching it to others because we want to affect change. We want kids to start growing up in environments to where they can, and their potential becomes what it can become. Because it's up to us in that environment, because they're still developing that filter system in there. We are still programming kids. We're still programming people to respond to us and to respond to that environment we have. If you create a bad environment, you don't get the growth that you need. When you change the environment, you get the potential that's in that seed that comes towards you to help do that growth. You can do that. And then they will eat off the produce. It will create a healthy environment. That's our granddaughter. This was 2 days ago, eating the lettuce that we grew off of our tower garden inside our house. Because we provided the correct environment that she could just grab a handful and put it in her mouth. So what environment are you guys creating in your life to create kids into adults, into the workforce? Because we're counting on you. You do the best work of anybody, and you do the most important work of anybody because of who you are and what you bring to this world. So give yourself a hand right now for the great work that you're doing. So on your feet again. Everybody up. Everybody up. Oh man, there's a lot of... Now, the victory pose. Put your hands up like this. This is another power pose. This is a victory pose. And if you look at people running, track stars running across the finish line, this is the pose that they do. Their chin's up, and their arms are up like this. The really interesting thing about this is when you're doing this, and some blind kids were running a race. They crossed the finish line. Blind people, right? Blind kids. They would raise their hands like this. They were blind from birth. They crossed the finish line and their hands went up. Now this is innate. This is hereditary in us all. It's a victory pose because we were made to be victorious. Right? So arms up, chin up,